It's nice that the Budokai series got an HD port to Xbox 360 and PS3 10 years after the original releases. I just have one question though. Do these motherfuckers not know how to count? Budokai 1. It was alright. Originally released in 2002, it came out during a time when the series was airing on US television. There were Dragon Ball games that came before, but this one put them on the map. As a kid, seeing the story for the first time in this way was mesmerizing. Goku sacrificing himself to beat Raditz, going Super Saiyan for the first time against Frieza, and helping his own son to finish off Perfect Cell. It doesn't look that great now, but back in the day, it was unreal for a game to look like this. To my knowledge, it was the first game to implement 3D cinematic cutscenes and the first to use the Funimation English cast. Since it was getting popular in the West, the timing was perfect. It sold over 3.5 million copies worldwide, making it the best-selling Dragon Ball game at that time. Eventually, a sequel was inevitable, and on December 4th, 2003, it was released in North America. Looking at the box art, it has a similar vibe with one striking character with the rest in one color. I like how different it is from the first one, but I'm curious. Who is that? Who are they?
Hey, it's me, Goku!
I know who you are. Well, now I'm intrigued. Let's see if this game can live up to the series' expectations. This is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. While I do like how the first game used the 3D models to recreate the Chala Hechala opening, or Rock the Dragon in the West, I prefer having an original 2D opening, and this looks so good. We get Bulma looking for the Dragon Balls with who I can only assume is a younger Trunks and another kid Goku, but Krillin beats him to it. We get a montage of villains with Vegeta being evil again. Why am I not surprised? The kids try to combine into one because they're them? Then we get this Hubba Bubba looking son of a bitch, followed by another Hubba Bubba looking son of a bitch. Goku and Vegeta show up saying, "Kids, we can become them too." Even these guys are flabbergasted. Then an epic fight endures that ends with Goku having too much damn hair. Who is the stylist and where can I book an appointment? He then uses the biggest spirit bomb I have ever seen, finishing the opening with Shenron making his presence known. Well great, now I have even more questions. The gameplay is the same as the first, having a set of combos that if done correctly can activate a finisher, whether it be a key attack, a flurry of punches and kicks, grabbing, or using a special finishing move only if you equip the correct skill before the match. What's different is that some moves have you play a mini game for the attack to succeed in dealing more damage. They also have more flair for the end combos, which do look better. Another thing is you can use the key attack without having to do combos. It's a great change that makes it easier to activate. Nothing more to say other than that, really. You can do 1v1s, fight in the World Tournament, and buy skills at the shop. If you played the first game, this will feel right at home. This game did come out 13 months after the first, so it makes sense why it's similar. What's not similar is how they present the story. The first game used the in-game models to tell its story. While it doesn't look that good in today's standards, it's still impressive even for an early 2000s game. With the models in the sequel, they have more cel shading to look more like the art in the anime, so I bet it'll look better than ever. Let's see these bad boys in action. What the f is this? The way the story is presented here is having to move characters from one point to another, almost like moving your piece in a board game. You use Goku and one or two other characters to take down enemies to get to the next map. There are also collectibles scattered about that gives you skills, money, attack and defense buffs, an extra turn, and Dragon Balls. Majority of them are underneath, just press a button and pray to King Kai you get something. It does eat up your turn, so use it wisely. You enter combat when you bump into an enemy and it's just your basic battle. Drown their health to 0 and keep fighting until their gauge on the map section is no more. There are places where the match has a stipulation, fighting at half health while health is depleting, ki at 0 while ki is depleting, and more. If you bump into your partner, you get a buff depending on the pair. The developers put in a good amount of effort and mechanics to make the map exploration interesting. Now you may be asking, does it play out exactly like the actual series? I don't think so. It starts with Raditz and Nappa arriving on Earth to find the Dragon Balls, because I guess Vegeta got his wish for immortality. Gotta beat them up along with some Cybermen. When you bump into an enemy character, depending on who, we get this visual novel-esque cutscene of them standing around, striking some poses, talking to each other. This is a huge downgrade compared to the first one. If you're gonna do a sequel, you might as well go the extra mile in terms of presentation. After collecting the Dragon Ball, we head to the snowy region of Earth to fight Raccoon, Ginyu, and Frieza? Okay, well, after them, we arrive on Planet Namek to fight Raccoon, Ginyu, and Frieza again? What the what's the point of this map, then? At least this one has Vegeta fighting against us, and once we defeat him, he joins the team. Thank God he didn't get his wish. After defeating Frieza, we head back to Earth to meet Dr. Gero and his army of Cybermen? I mean, I can see that because he got data of them from the Saiyan invasion. Since it's made by the same developer, I assume they use the same engine and models, and if so, why isn't Android 19 here? They could have copy and pasted the bot here, but nope. No Dodoria nor Zombar either, which they should have used them in the snowy mountains to at least make the enemies different. Even Frieza only had his final form here, whereas the previous game had all of them. Granted, his second and third transformations weren't playable, but they made the models for them and they didn't put them in, including his 100% full power. Whatever the case, we beat Gero, then we beat the androids to get to Perfect Cell. Pretty clever reason for him to appear like this with 17 and 18 defeated, but again, they had the models for his first and second forms that were actually playable. I still don't get why they made this decision. That was Budokai 2, and what a bunch of bullshit. Having to cut characters in a presentation, that is a major downgrade from the original. The gameplay has some improvement, but it's the same deal as the first. Maybe there is a good reason this is forgotten, because there's barely anything new to offer. Oh. The game is still going. If you don't know, Budokai was the game that introduced me to Dragon Ball, played up to the Cell arc, and was satisfied with the conclusion. Budokai 2, however, was the first introduction to the Majin Buu arc for me. Of course I was excited for that. All the maps going forward having new content. Now, this is just pure speculation, but I believe the characters that I previously mentioned were cut was because they wanted to replace them with the new characters. Now that is what I call a sequel. Just, forget that this is the same damn game as the first. At the start of Map 5, you engage with Shin, or Supreme Kai, who exposition dumps that Babidi was a magician who created Buu. However, the monster was too much for him to handle with his destructive power, so he sealed him, brought him to Earth, and Kai defeated him. Unfortunately, Babidi had a son named Babidi who has the same evil heart as his father. With the help of his servant Deborah, he plans to resurrect Buu at any cost. How f***ing convenient. Lucky for him, he has the ability to control people with an evil heart, and his first victim will be... I mean, even if he is good, this is the same guy who let Cell achieve his perfect form. I'm not surprised by this. He also controls Cell and Frieza, who are brought back to life? Hopefully this doesn't become a trend. I do like if you fight the Majin-controlled enemies, the gauge fills up, and when it maxes out, Buu would be brought back and the game would be over. But he would be resurrected in the next map anyway. So this is kind of pointless. After we defeat him, he transforms into this lanky look. For the next map, we head into the hyperbolic time chamber to meet Kid Trunks and Kid Goten, Goku's second son. Damn, he really loves his wife. They do a dance and fuse into one being named Gotenks. That's pretty sick. While I'm on the subject, there's also a fusion of Tien and Yamcha that was exclusive for quite some time. So this Hubba Bubba looking son of a bitch has the ability to absorb people, and that includes Cell and Frieza. I'm getting this weird feeling this is not canon. So we beat Buu, and the game says no you didn't, as the next map has him appeared with Gotenks absorbed. Gohan gets a new form by the power of the Kais, and I would defeat him as the guy, but I want to see him suffer. Goku meets up with Vegeta to get him to put on the Batara earring so that they can fuse together to take down Buu.
Alright!
What is with this arc and its obsession with fusions? I wish they used the fusion dance instead. I want to see what they would look like. Little did I know. We beat Buu, but now he turns into a kid who is rowdier and more dangerous and is the real form of Buu. Very fitting if you ask me. We get to the final map, which is in Supreme Kai's world as the perfect ground to finish this. Say it with me now.
Hubba Bubba looking son of a bitch!
Bitch. This final map has it all. Intense music, gritty atmosphere. Cell and Frieza are back. They just can't help themselves, huh? It's actually better to beat them first since they give you an extra buff to help fight Buu. And trust me, you're gonna need them. This guy is insanely strong with a lot of health. I ended up using my other characters because they were the ones who got the buff. Although if you have the heart virus and vaccine skills, you could just equip that and watch Buu's health go down the drain. That was the story of Dragon World. There were 9 maps total, with 5 of them dealing with Buu. I do appreciate there was more for the new arc, but I wish it was more fleshed out to be more canon to the story. Like, start with just Raditz for the first map, then Nappa and Vegeta, then the Ginyu Force, then Frieza, and so on and so forth. I also hope to have increased character stats and carry them over instead of resetting after every map, because it was a challenge once I got to Kid Buu. To its credit, it has great replayability in the sense of unlocking characters. A few examples: if you defeat Nappa with Tien, you'll unlock Yamcha. If you defeat Nappa with Vegeta, you'll unlock Nappa. If you defeat Cell with Gohan, you'll unlock Teen Gohan. Why didn't they give us him from the start? Once you finish a run in Dragon World, if you collected all 7 Dragon Balls, you'll summon Shenron and can acquire breakthroughs for characters, which will allow you to use all of their skills without setting a limited amount. I recommend getting Babidi's Spaceship, as it's a new mode that's like a minigame mode of sorts. First challenge is how many times you can beat your opponent before you go down. Second challenge is seeing how long you'll survive. Third challenge is how many hits you can land before time runs out. And the last challenge is how many Ki blasts you can volley within the time limit. Whatever you get converts into Keely, which unlocks characters from the Buu arc as well as their skills. It's nice to have variety on how to unlock more content. Or you can do none of that and just hold L2 while going in and out of the skill shop until you get to 100% completion in the PS2 version. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 was a sick game as it introduced me to the Majin Buu arc. Was it done well? Not really, but I was having a blast when I played it as a kid. Going out of your way to play the game multiple times just to unlock characters is really interesting. Although doing it now with where the series is at, I would pull my hair doing all of that. I unlocked every character in Smash Ultimate in 10 hours. I do not want to experience something like that again. There was also stuff released in the Japanese version, including an extra map and alternate costumes referencing Neko Majin, which is a gag one-shot by Akira Toriyama that in later chapters became a parody of DBZ. While it may not have the same spectacle as the first and the full potential as the third, it was a good sequel that should have been in the HD collection. So with that said, I still have one more question that needs an answer. How does the Frieza race fuck?